Tell you what, this beats any office view I have ever seen. This steam engine is from the early 1900s. It powers most of the equipment inside of the sorghum mill. Here you'll get a good look at the furnace that powers most of the equipment inside of the mill. There's a few electric items that are run by electric motors, but for the most part, all of the heavy machinery are run by the steam and therefore by the fire. And here's the boss man, John Kramer, hard at work early in the morning. He gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get this fire going for us. To get the steam pressure up to where we can start the equipment. Here's one of the toughest jobs out here. This wagon has to be backed up into this pit, or right neck pit, almost exact. Otherwise, you'll either drop the wagon into the pit, the back wheels, and it'll break the frame on the wagon, or the load won't dump correctly, and you'll have to get out there and scoop it by hand, which is not fun. I know by example. Here's the pit I was talking about. This wagon has to be backed up just to it, and you want the end of it right next to that wall so that the load will drop square and you won't have to use a fork to level it off and to move the load around once it's dropped in there. It's pretty tricky. Once you get the hang of it though, it's not as hard as it looks. That's the blower. That's where all the leaves and excess go. Rather than the cane. And here's the steam engine running and in action. Definitely don't want to stick your fingers in there. They say it's about 100 horsepower, but with tons of torque with all the flywheels swinging around and everything. Oil injectors right there on top, the lighter colored object. That has to be filled on a regular basis. And there's John cleaning things out. I find this part very interesting. Right there you'll see a transmission from a vehicle. The electric motor's not in use right now. I'm not quite sure what that's for. There's a transmission, there's a rear end, there's also a transfer case below that. And all of this is basically junk that they use to create this system. It's just amazing. These are the tanks where the sorghum flows. And there's Dick Snell preparing the tank. He's got a power washer there, and he was cleaning it out from the last batch. There's John watching over the boiling sorghum to make sure it's doing whatever it is it's supposed to do. That's beyond me. That's almost a finished product. It has one more tank to go. Alright, what you're seeing here is the rollers. The cane comes down that chute, goes underneath those rollers. The rollers crush it, and the juice goes out the bottom. This one's called the shaker table. Everything that comes out the back end goes to the shaker table, and some of it's solid, some of it's liquid, and it basically filters it out. Pretty simple. Alright, so my goal here is to show what an interesting place this is. We're all temporary workers. We work 3 to 4 weeks out of the year. This is my first year, but I think this would be an outstanding place for dirty jobs to come to. Mike can start early in the morning, at 4 o'clock, get the ovens going, build pressure, and go through each of the jobs. And it's a piece of history, and it's very interesting.